Okay, so do this quickly and then all right, so I greet all of you and then just going to look at the basics of uh, Excel tutorial. So let me go to a new sheet. So if you open Excel book, this is what you are going to get from the first start. Now, the whole of this sheet you are looking at are important aspects. We have the ribbon, that is the top part, which is made of tabs. As you can see, we have the file tab, the home tab, and then in that order. So I just tap on the file tab, home tab, and then insert, draw, page, formulas, and then all of that. Under the tabs, each of the tabs made of groups of commands. A group of commands are commands that allow the computer to perform or Excel to form a specific, or for instance, under the home tab, the first group is clipboard. The clipboard, we have copy, paste, we have brush, we have all of them are able to just move document to the clipboard and away from the clipboard. That is what it does. Now, we also have the font group that has to do with the font size and all of that. So the whole of what we are seeing is what we call the ribbon. Now, on top of the ribbon is what we call the quick access toolbar. Most of the things you see on top there, it is your preference that you can either put it up there, you can add things that you want access toolbar. So we have the ribbon that is made of tabs, and the tabs are made of groups of ones, and then each one helps you to execute an action. Come here, type my name to anywhere. If I come to this point, I can copy it. And then I am going to red, can, and then in that order. Them are found here. Then conditional formatting, that one is under the step. So that is what we call important part of the ribbon. It's very what we call the formulas, like you see around here. Whatever we are doing in each particular cell is connected to that particular formula bar, and then we are good to go. So let's come here. I'm going to come to this point and then remove the highlights. So I will simply say no fill, and then it is. So now what I'm simply saying is we have the formula bar here. The formula bar is connected to each of the cells here. One side I'm done now to the sheet side. So this is columns and then rows. So each column is named or is identified by an alphabet. So we have A, column B, column C in that order. In other programming languages, they call them field. It's the same thing. Now we also have rules, and then the the rules take in or what is it? They are numbered or identified by numbers. So we have rule 1, row 2, row 3, and then in that order. Now, within the intersection of each row and column gives us the cells. And the cells are actually what I have highlighted here. So if you click on any cell, it becomes active cell. And then in that order, please pay attention to these basic things. Click on it, it becomes an active cell. If I click here, it becomes an active cell. So if I click on any cell, then how do we identify the name of that cell? You check the column identification. So I have clicked here, it is on column E, and then check the row, it is row 5. And so you see column and row 5 will be highlighted when you check. And so which means this particular active cell, the cell address is E5. Now to confirm that, look left top, you can see inside here we have something called E5. So that is the name of this particular. If I am typing anything inside this particular cell, you will see it also typed on top here, which means this address bar is connected to each cell. The of cells that we have here is connected. So if I come to this point and let's say I am typing my name, you will notice that it is also typing concurrently on top here, the inside the address bar. So if I type my name over there, see it on top there. Now, when we come to the cells, this is where the actual work is going to take place. The cells is where we enter our values, or we enter our text, we enter our number whatsoever. There are 3 ways or even 4 ways or 4 type of entered into the cell. Or I can just type 100, just type A, and then I've entered a text. Or I've entered a letter, and then in that order. So that by into the cells, but function. Now, whether you are entering a formula or a function, you are asking Excel to perform a background mathematical operation in order to give you results. You are literally doing, you are giving it a code. Excel will interpret it and bring back the results. For instance, able to enter data in a formula, or then you have to with an equal sign. So I started with an equal sign. Okay, somebody say increase the font size, so I'm going to do that quickly. It appears my Excel is freeze. It's not freeze, but the internet is quite bad here. So you start with equal sign, and then you can now add your formula, or you can add your function. Now, there is a difference between a formula and a function. A formula is simply the way you have allowed variables to interact using mathematical operations. For instance, if I put 5 there plus and I bring 9, then this becomes a formula. It's a formula. So this plus this is equal to that. So 2 values are being asked to either join together using the mathematical operator, which is plus. And so that is how we enter a formula. So if I tap on enter key, I have executed. Excel will now interpret it to know that I want the 2 to add. Now, we can also enter functions. So let me come to a new cell and say I want to enter a function. A function is also a formula, but in this case, somebody has already designed it, and then it is now performing the action that you would have used a formula to get. For instance, I just added 5 and then 4. So to do that, it's actually called summation. You are actually summation has a function, sum, and in Excel, all formulas are in uppercase. So when you start typing, you will see this, whatever that appears here, we call it IntelliSense in programming. The IntelliSense would suggest to you what you are actually looking for, because it can send that out. And now when you see the IntelliSense in Excel, we use tab to complete it. So the IntelliSense here has highlighted sum. It has thought of the fact that I'm either looking for sum, that's the most obvious. The second most obvious will be the one below, but the one highlighted is the one that the IntelliSense has actually detected. And indeed, we are typing sum. You are complete. So once you see it has open bracket, it tells you that argument. And the argument here can be those you have already or it can be a complex, but it can also be a formula. But remember, if it is a formula, it can only be variables that you have already declared those variables. So in this case, we are using sum. So Excel knows that whatever values that I enter, we are going to sum them. We are going to put them together. So I'll put 5 there, and Excel entries are always separated by comma. Then I'll put comma there, and then I'll add 9. I'm done. Check the intents below. It tells you that when you have added all the numbers separated by commas, you should put the bracket that was already opened. And so I'll close to enter key and it will be executed. So this is basically the rationale behind how we enter values and then we enter formulas. Now, Excel in the book is made of countless number of let's say sheets. And then some of the sheets I've already named them. Now, because you'll be working with so many sheets, it's say I want to name sheet 4. I will come and right click on it, and you can, and so I can come here and I will say maybe that is a practice sheet. So I'll just write the practice. The best thing is don't leave spaces. If you want, separate them by an underscore, or you can use camel cases, and then you are good to go. But I'll just leave it at practice. That is it. So the sheet has not been named. I can refer to this sheet wherever I want, and then in that order. So anywhere I now refer to a sheet, and I mention the name, Excel will be able to pick it up. So these are the preliminaries guiding how Excel you have of commands or group of they also are able to do all kinds of want to chat whatever then in that order. But the one we set on the need to know for now function. I just I want to run obviously that is what it's going to create. So I'll just close it up and then you tap enter. So you notice that it is going to give us a random number. That is, you see, how do you what we call feeling, or like what we call, do I have to come here again and then type the formula again and drag, go to the next cell, type the formula again? No. Once we have the first figure, then we can now simply come here and then drag it and it will repeat. The formula will be repeated more cross. So it tells you that repeat whatever activity that have been done here, and then not to repeat action in other cells. Simply drag it, and then it creates all the random numbers that I wanted to create. And then you see that we have created one part of the random numbers. We can also use run between to create another form of random numbers. And with that one, we can come, I'll say run between. So the run between is here. I'll use the, and that one, you are going to give it an argument and check the intelligence, the lower number and the topper number. So I would say, let's say I'm creating like a newborn kids between 1 kilogram and 5 kilogram. So the bottom is 1 and the top is 5. So we are expecting that all the kids born will be 1 kilogram. The highest weight will be 5 kilogram, and then the order. So when we do that, so, and then that is how we create and run array. I don't mind that. So come to this side, to this point, and then also use run array. Unlike the run between, run you don't give argument. Run between you give two argument. For run array, you give argument. You also give the number of columns you want, the number of rows you want alongside. So let's look at it briefly. I'm going to say equal to run array, and then that should come when you start. And so you see that the first argument it is asking me is number of rows. So I want it to be maybe about maybe 20 rows. So I'll say I want it to be 20 rows. How many columns? I just want 4 of them. And then what should be the lowest number? The lowest number, let's say we are still looking at the maybe the birth weight. So the lowest number should be 1 kilogram, and then the highest number should be 5 kilogram. And then in this case, run array gives us the opportunity to either choose integers or doubles. So if I choose something like false, it means I want decimals. So we can actually have 2.2, 2.3. But if we want absolute numbers, like integers, 1, 2, 3, like the one I have created right now, let's leave it at 4 so that we can have some decimals. So I'm going to start typing false, and when the false start highlighting, you use the IntelliSense to complete it. Now, put your bracket close, and then you simply tap your enter key, and it will simply create the array like that, and then you are good to go. So here, so far, you can see that we have created different random numbers, and then they are all here. Now, one thing you need to know, each time you create random numbers for maybe practice, Excel, it keeps recalculating because it's random. So in order to stop it from recalculating, you need to copy it and then paste it back again. And this is the trick. Come to this point, and then you can highlight, or you can just press Control and A. You see that Control and A, it will highlight all of them. Why is it that it did not highlight to the other one? Excel highlight numbers or entries that are in succession. Because there is a space here, there's empty column around here, it cannot go and highlight the next part of it. So it will only highlight the area. So if I come to this point and I want to highlight only this, I will only have to make sure that I just click in one of them so that it become an active cell. So Control A, it will simply highlight it. And then as well as the other one. So let's come back to this. Control A, it has been highlighted. The next thing is to copy it. Remember, I said on the Home tab, if you check here, the first one I said that's the clipboard. So you can see we have the copy key. If I click on copy, the copy button or command, you see that you will see this the line that is going around telling you that this particular information has been copied into the clipboard. Now we want to paste the same information on their same cells where they are. So I'm simply going to come there, and then you can see the paste button, which is very close to it here. So I'll click on that, the drop down, to choose the kind of pasting that I want to do. So I want to paste it as values. So when I paste them as values, they will stop recalculating. But before I do that, let me come and click on an open place and then show you something. If I click on any of the active cells where this data that I have created is, check on the address bar. The address bar will tell you the formula that is used to create that particular entry. You see? And so pay attention to that. But when I copy and I paste it back as values, you will not see this at the formula again or function again. So here, wherever I click, you will see this function. That's the function that was used to create it. So again, Control A, it highlights everything. So I go to copy it. Remember, in Excel, when you copy and then you perform another action without pasting, it becomes volatile. It leaves the clipboard. So I'm going to close this. But once you see this line going, it means it's still copied. Then I'll come to my paste options, come and choose paste as values. So I'll paste it as values, and then I am good to go. This time around, when I click on any of them, you won't see the function again. You will now see the value which is found there, and then that is it. So we'll do the same thing for the rest. So I'm just going to copy it, then come and click on the paste button and paste it back as values so that it will stop recalculating. And then I will come back to this one to highlight, then come and copy, then click on the paste button and then paste it as values. And then we are done. Now the next thing to do is check there is just too much decimal places, and when you also check too much decimal places, and then the rows are not also of equal size, height, and then in that order, we are going to adjust that. For instance, sometimes you pick your data and then you will see somewhere, you will see some things like this. I'm trying to, because of different sizes, so you see your data actually separated this way and then in all of that. So if you have seen it this way, one of the cells was, one of the rules was that kind of, so what you normally do is just click on one of them, then highlight it, and then press your alternate key down, HOI, and press HOI. It will simply adjust it. And then now it will adjust the columns. So if you press your alternate key down again and say HOA, it will adjust and then everything will fit properly. So you notice that the rules have now been fixed properly. So the next thing is to remove this unnecessary decimals. Maybe we want to have it at only 2 decimal places or 1 decimal places. So instead of having 0. Too many, it becomes difficult. So when you highlight it, you go to the num column, the numbers column, and then you see this button here. It's called decrease decimal. So we're going to click on that. So it's going to decrease all the decimals up to the one that we want. Well, if we want 2 decimal places, we leave it at this point. The same way, we go to the other one here and come. So click on that, highlight the whole thing, and then we can come to this point and say what decrease decimals. So we also decrease that to 2 decimal places, and now our data is ready. So these are the basic things that you need to know when you are starting Excel. Know how to create random numbers and now begin to work with them. So now that we have these random numbers, now we can apply some few mathematical functions or Excel functions to them. For instance, if I want to calculate, if I want to sum the the entire weight of this particular kit, or let's say that's maybe even the first one. Let's name that particular column A, uh, or let's say hospital one. So I'll just say hos. I'll just give it a title. Maybe that was in one of the hospitals. So I'll just say H1. So that will be H1. Second one is H2, and then in that order. So once I have had H1 and H2, now highlight the two of them small, and then when it changes, you drag it. It will automatically number it, because Excel would have detected that once you say one hospital one, hospital two, so the next one should be hospital three. So it will simply just number it for you. And so in that order. So now let's assume that we are now going to apply few mathematical functions here. So I can come to this point and say maybe I want the total sum. So if I want the total sum, I can simply say equal to, then you bring the sum function like this, all right? And then I am good to go. Then I can now highlight all the way from here up to this, because I am doing this because I'll be clicking one after the other, all right? And then I'm going to close it up and then tap enter. So it will give me the total sum, as you can see around here. I don't know why it is zero. Maybe it is 0.00 something that I have not seen, but I think the formula didn't enter well. So what I want you to pay attention is that in Excel, when you say, if you type something like, let's get a, if I say A and I put column and I put B, or let me say H, I am saying that from A all the way to H, that's the range. So I am selecting from all the way to H. Now, I've already mentioned that in Excel, the cell addresses are always the intersection of the column and the rows. So now, when we come here, go and look at the cell address in the cell address bar on top here where the cursor is pointing. You see F2 there. It tells you that the first one is F2. The last one is, go and look over there, F21. So if I come here and I want to look at the total, I can simply start by saying equal to sum, and then I will now say F2, and then put my column all the way to F21. Immediately I start typing that, you notice that Excel will detect the range and you simply highlight the range for me. And you can see the range has been highlighted. It means those are the items I want to sum them. So I'm going to tap enter to execute, and then it will give me 10.01. That is how it is. Now, if I come here, I can also do the same sum. And then the sum is going to allow me, I can come here and type the sum again. But the fill in function in Excel allow Excel to know that once you have done something in one cell, when you move to the next cell, or when you drag to the next cell, you are simply saying that I want to repeat the same action using the same criteria. For instance, I performed this action in this particular cell using from here, from F2 to F21. Now, if I move to this particular cell, it means that Excel will already detect that I want to do summation, but this time I'm using H2 to H21. So instead of me typing sum again and also saying H2 to H21, I can simply just come here and drag it and wait. Immediately your plus sign or your cursor sign change back to small plus. Then it is telling you that you can repeat the same action in wherever you are dragging it to. So I'll simply drag it around here. And then it will also calculate this particular, it will also sum this column for me. If I drag it again, it will also calculate this particular column for me. And that's how we are able to do things in a very quick. And then that is it. So that's how we apply the sum function. If we wanted to know the average weight in each, so we use the average function, you see, and when it comes, we use the tab key to complete it. And as usual, we already know the range. The range is F2 and then column F, no space, column F21. All right, then you close it, then tap your enter key. It gives you the average. So the average weight is actually zero 0.5. I don't think, because I simulated the data, so that is to be expected. Now, we can also use the same thing. That's like to fill everything so that to calculate the rest of the averages for us. Now, we can also look for another function, maybe other functions that we want to perform on this. Uh, and then we can apply it, and then we'll be able to do whatever that we want to do. So basically, this is how we apply functions. But these functions I'm talking about, Excel has built them and then they are setted. We can also build our own functions. Somewhere in the video, I will show you how to be able to build our own functions. But for now, I just want you to pay attention to how the functions work, and then after that, I will do a different video and show you how the functions are built, so that you learn how to build your own functions and do your own stuff wherever you are. But basically, this is the basic introduction to Excel. You can play around it, and then you are good to go. The rest of the things, there are just too many things that you learn them over time, especially even the copy and paste that I spoke to you just now. We There are several ways we can copy and paste. We can copy and paste transpose. We can copy and paste with the formula. We can copy and paste as values. We can copy and paste whichever way we want. For instance, if I copy the whole of this, or let me say I'm going to copy the whole of this, I can paste it and it will no longer be row, it will now be column. That's what we call paste transpose, and then in that order. So I will leave it here and I will do another video to show you the next aspect of Excel. This time around, going deeper into the functions and then how we build functions by ourselves. But that's the basic introduction to it. Before I sign up, most the functions that you are seeing all found in a particular space in Excel called formulas. So if you come and click on the formulas tab, you can see all of these places are full of functions. If I click on the functions here, wait and see, you're going to have a whole lot of functions. Okay, let me cancel this. I need to click in an open space first. Come and click on this insert function, and you can see a whole lot of functions are here. There are so many functions which are here that we can actually, if you want to know how those functions are, you can simply just click on it. Like here, I have dates. So if I click on it, now go and check in the address bar, you can see that the date function is already there. There's an open and close bracket telling you that it is ready for argument. So we are going to create a date. And then let's put the date there. Let's say 2026, that's the year. The month type, which month are we talking about? We're talking of March. Let's say we are of March 28th. 20. Now, when we are done, click OK, and then check. You see what my cursor is, and then that's how I actually do it. So there are, if you also click function to perform an activity here, let's move to a different one, like the auto sum function that is here. You can see some average count numbers, maximum, and then that one. Let's pick maximum. So it has already detected that we want to find out the maximum of this, because some of these them they can easily detect your move. But what the parts say, no, that's not the one I want. I just want to see for a maximum. If I wanted to find out the maximum one, I could highlight the whole thing. Or if I know the cell addresses, the range, I'll just type it, okay, P2 to P11, and then that's all. Close it up and tap enter, and then it should give you the maximum number, which is 5, and then in that order. So the functions are all found inside the formulas tab. Then you see that we have logical functions, which are there, the if, the by call, the by rule, and all of that. I've treated all of them, but I shall be doing them one after the other for you to see them. This video has become quite long. I'm going to do a different one where we deal with these rewarded functions as soon as possible. All right, so I'll leave it here. Then thank you. Look like it wasn't even recording.